Hello and welcome back to Ride Rescue. In this episode, I plan on painting the front fender and the rear fender on the bed, and I'll share with you some of the pitfalls of painting in your garage. So I have the bed in the bounce house paint booth. Got it all masked off. I just need to wipe it down. Once I wipe it down, then I'll tack rag it all off, and then we'll spray it with the base coat and then several coats of clear. Well, there's the damage area, all brand new again. Paint still got to cure and flow out just a little bit more. Still just a little tacky, but I had to get it out of the booth so I could collapse it. Picked up a little bit of trash this time. I don't like this base that I'm using. The paint shop recommended it. This is the brand. It dries way too fast. I just cannot get a good slick finish. Typically when I do a base, it slicks off, and then just before you do a clear coat, I can tack rag it down. And this, even over thinning it, I can't get it to flow out smooth. So it got a lot of trash in it, and then when I tried to wipe it down with the tack rag put even more trash in it. But I planned on color sanding and buffing this anyway, so that'll all disappear. Now that the bed is all finished, I'll move on to the front fender. The truck's too big to get into my bounce house, so I will just go ahead and paint it here in my garage. With the temperature change, I painted the majority of this truck when it was really warm, and I bought paint and reducer that works well with the high heat. Well, now that I am painting in cooler temperatures, I am running into a lot of problems. Just a little bit about paint. When you're painting in a high temperature, you'll use a really slow reducer so that it slows down the curing rate of the paint. The opposite of that, when you're painting in the cold, you'll want it to set up really fast. Well, since I was painting majority of this in the heat, I had things slowed way down. I had to slow down too much. I should have changed reducer. I thought I could make it work. I thought I could just take my time between it flashing off between coats, but I worked too fast. I didn't take enough time, and I had a lot of problems. So it happens to the best of us. This hasn't happened to me in a long time. In fact, I don't know if I've ever had a clear coat go as bad as this one. I put on a thin skim coat for the first coat, got a little bit of orange peel, got some fisheye, which was kind of weird. Typically, keep going and those fish eyes will flow out because I did wipe it down really good. And it did. I waited 10 minutes, I put on a medium coat, waited 10 minutes, put on another medium coat. That's when I'm typically done. After cleaning up my gun and everything, it was just all sagging. There's runs everywhere, which was a beautiful finish with the third coat, but because I didn't let it flash off, as it just set, it just drooped. So what I did is I let it set for a half an hour, and I put on 3 more coats so that I would have a ton of clear on this thing so that I could go back and flatten it out and get rid of these runs and not have to worry about sanding through it. And because it is so bad, I'm going to sand it with 500 grit sandpaper, which is a no-no on clear. Typically, just start out at 1,000 grit, but I have never had one this bad. Like I say, I know I've got a lot of clear on it, so I'll show you how to do it. Take a razor blade and just keep it straight up and down and go back and forth over the fender. See how it appears? And just keep doing that until you knock all the real high points off. By doing this, you're not sanding or over sanding and still leaving high spots. There are little tools you can buy that the razor blade goes into, so you can make sure you don't catch an edge and gouge, but you get a feel for it pretty quick, just leaving that flat against the surface. As long as it is flat, you don't want to do it on a concave surface, because you're going to grab those tips. So where it's flat and it's slightly convexed, just keep going back and forth like a plane. Now I let this cure out in the sun for 2 days, so I'm confident it's cured. If you start doing this too soon, it's soft underneath. Now I'll clean that up and look for any other areas, and then I'll start sanding. When you start sanding with a heavier course like this 500, keep it really wet and just lightly sand. Don't get aggressive and really push on it. And go against those runs so you can flatten it out. Don't go with it. All of it's sagged in line like waves on the ocean. So go across those waves. I don't want to get too high up along this body line. So, in fact, I think I'll even run a piece of tape along that edge, and then I'll just work up to that tape. I'm not concerned with this one. There's a lot of heavy clear right here, and then the fender flare covers up along that area too. So this is the one I'm really concerned with. I've been going back and forth this way to knock down those high points, and I'm feeling pretty good about it until I actually clean it off. But I can see, looking across it, there's a shine on both sides of that run, and that shine is now disappearing. So I'm going to start flattening out long ways. I want to make sure, now that I've got it flat this way, I want to get it flat this way. Well, let's see how it looks. It's probably not quite finished yet, but it's good to periodically check just to see how we're doing. We don't want to take off any more than we have to. Yeah, that's looking excellent. My 1000 grit will knock all this stuff out, and then I can go down into here with the 1000 and that'll flatten that out. So yeah, this is looking good. So for the 500 grit, this is a good place to stop, and then we'll go to 1000 grit, and then 1500, 2000, 2500, 3000, 5000, and this will be ready for buffing. Got a little more to do over here, and then we'll start cutting down to the finer sandpaper. Alright, I'm happy with this now, with the 500 grit. I don't know if you can see this on the video, but there's some pretty good scratches from the sandpaper. So those are the areas you have to really concentrate with the 1000 grit. This actually is 1200 grit. And make sure all of those scratches are not noticeable. Because if you move on to 2000 grit sandpaper and then on to 25 and 3000, there's a remnant of those deep scratches. That's one of the mistakes I've made over the years when I've been buffing panels, is not concentrating on every single step. I ran out of 2000 grit sandpaper, so I went from 1200 right to 3000. got it all buffed and I just wasn't happy with it. So then I got to go back and sand it all over again. So make sure at each step that all those deep scratches are gone. And you can usually even hear it in the sandpaper. It gets smoother and smoother and quieter when everything is perfect. So now that the real heavy stuff is flattened out, now I'll move up to, there's a couple of fish eyes on here that are concerning. I'm probably going to have to scuff those, and I'll dab in some clear coat into those and fill up those fish eyes. If they sand out smooth because there's so much clear on this, then I won't need to do that. But if not, like I say, I'll just dab it in there and then hit it flat and they'll disappear. Well, that was pretty good for the first try with 1200 grit sandpaper. See how it's kind of a milky color through the middle? That's all scratches. So I need to get it that same consistent black color. Around here there's still some scratches, and then there's a patch here. But like I say, for the first time around, it looks pretty good. I've got one fisheye right here and a couple of them right here, which is kind of weird, but it looks like I'll be able to sand these all down flat, but this one I'm going to have to fill. So I'll have to get the shine out of it. So we'll get a little scouring pad and work it in there, and then I'll just dab in some clear. Alright, we'll keep going with 1000 grit or 1200. Finally, I cannot make out any scratches from the 500 grit. So I'm real comfortable now. Can move on to the 2500. No, take that back. Move on to the 2000. One thing I forgot to add, when you're doing the finer grits, they have a tendency to stick to the panel. They just really cling on. Put a little soap in it. You put in a little dish soap, just anything to lubricate it a little bit, keep it from sticking. I'm going to start with McGuire's swirl remover, and I'll polish all the areas. I typically use this foam pad, but I'm not getting the results I want, and it's starting to tear up the foam. So with the swirl remover, it's just a little too aggressive for that. So I'm going to go to this one. I have a wool pad, but the wool pad's a little too aggressive, so we'll try this out. I will use a show glaze, which is a pre-wax. It's pure polish, and then you'll put some type of a wax on after. I've got a wax that I used on my show car that is a spray on and then wipe off that is just awesome. I'm going to start out on about a 2. Thanks for checking out my channel. I'm here to learn, to teach, and hopefully to inspire. So hit my subscribe button. I really appreciate you subscribing. Leave me a comment. I love hearing from you. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a like. Thanks again for watching.